this is innovation. This is the innovation that we expect from brands and companies in 2024 going into 2025. NWM sent these out to me because I saw them on a review and I reached out, and they were kind enough to work with me. So thank you for sending these out. But as always, honest and transparent review. The design of these, it's an interesting design when you look at these. The design is the first thing you notice about the NWM Ones. They have this look that you would expect to see like in a movie, like Back to the Future or Star Trek, James Bond, something like that. The first time, like I said, I saw these was in a CNET review almost 2 months ago now at the time this was released. And I was like, what the heck are those? Like, what are those? Like, I could tell that they weren't typical because of this open space in the front, but I couldn't quite tell at first until they started talking about them. And I really wanted to try these. If they wouldn't have sent them out, I probably would have bought them. So thank you for sending them out. The design of these allowed them to be worn for hours on end, and it's not fatiguing to the ear or the neck like some of the traditional over-the-ear headphones, especially those really big AirPod Maxes that get heavy and you can only wear for a short time stint. These are a staggering 6.5 ounces. So these are extremely light. And I wore these purposely for hours while working one day. And even like in moments where I got hyper focused at times, I forgot they were on my head. They're so light that when the music's not playing and you get busy, you kind of forget they're there for a while. The interesting thing about these that even though they lack like a lot of flexibility, of course they can go here and here and here and they go up and down. They don't have a lot of, swivel here, or they don't have a lot of rotation there. But interestingly enough, this part right here, what I call the speaker array, it points backwards into your ear canal. And so that mitigates the need for any of the flexibility. And the other things about the build is that the headband here is extremely small and thin, and the ear pad is pretty thin and kind of non-existent. But because these are so light, they mitigate the need to have like over the top padding or anything like that in order to create comfort. Because they're so light, they don't put any pressure. There's no like crazy clamping force or anything like that. But I'm like looking at these, the design overall, like, look at it from this side. Like, look at it from this side right there. Imagine sitting in a meeting and somebody saying, hey, let's just scoop the middle out like a donut and hang a speaker in the middle, in the middle. Like, and somebody was like, yes, that's it, right? So that's so interesting. The fruit company, that's the kind of idea that probably get laughed at over there, but they can take note because whoever came up with the idea, innovation is just changing the colors in 2024 needs to be fired. But not really, but they should not lead design going forward. But I kid kind of. Controls are simple on these. So there's a 2-button design. There's a small button in the front, and then there's a larger volume toggle button right there. And the controls are really separated into 3 areas. It's music, it's calling, and then standby. Standby is kind of like when you have them powered on and you're not doing anything with them, or meaning there's no music or anything coming through them. You can't customize the touch controls, but you really don't need to. They're really simple, but there's a tangible bump and click, so there's no way that you can accidentally push these. Like, I've never accidentally pushed these because of that. The sound of the NWM Ones is really good. The NWM Ones speaker array, as I call it, is made up of a dual driver setup. So there's one 12mm tweeter driver that supplies the high frequencies, and there's a huge 35mm woofer driver that creates the low end frequencies. They literally basically built a speaker and just smacked it in front of your face, in front of your ears. But getting back to the science, each driver has a separate amp. So the 12mm and the 35mm have a separate amp powering them individually to produce the right frequency, while DSP, or digital signal processing, works to create kind of that right blend of each, and that minimizes distortion. And that's all the way up through the volume. Like if you have a good EQ on these, like they go all the way up to max volume with no distortion. Now you can mess it up yourself because of the ability to customize and make your frequencies crazy and stuff like that and introduce like shrill and harsh and stuff like that. But tuning these right or using the presets, that doesn't happen. So it's a great experience overall, and I think whether you're an open ear person or even an over the ear person, I think people from both camps will love these. So they sound good no matter the genre. For example, when I test headphones, I start with popular trending songs and I see how well they perform. And if they do well, I go on to more specific songs that are classics. And I bring in, songs that bring in emotion like Bonnie Rett, I Can't Make You Love Me, Lorena McKennitt, Bonnie Portmore. Songs like these, the artists are really pouring their emotions into the music. They're really enunciating. They're really having nuance to their voice to tell their story. And you really need great performing headphones in order to hear those nuances, to reproduce that emotion that's being built. And these do a great job of that as well. Now, once I get through that type of music, I go on to cinema scores, and think of like Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer's done everything, but Honor Him for Gladiator is one that I like to go to because Gladiator's soundtrack is freaking sweet. That movie 300, I think Tyler Bates, like the last two, which is The Message for the Queen, I always go to, which is where he went back to talk to the Senate to get them to go to war, and then that leads into the famous speech, right? But either way, these were able to go with me throughout that entire journey, and they sound really good throughout. Volume is good on these, and especially because they kind of just sit there. It's 360 spatial. So they sound really good. Most headphones don't do well in that last space, which is like cinema or scores and things like that. And it's because it's instrumentation. You really have to reproduce actual instruments like the violin, the cello, the oboe, the whatever it is. You have the viola. When you're talking about Bonnie Portmore and you're hearing those bagpipes kind of come in like from that quiet and they kind of jump in, the ability to reproduce that in a good pair of headphones is so good because it sets that tone. Like you're in for a story when they come on. If you're unfamiliar with that song, go listen to it. And there's the one from The Highlanders, also a really good version as well. But they found a way to produce bass, real bass, tangible bass. It's not sitting there vibrating on you, but it's real bass, not artificial, not over the top forced bass that you hear. These will suit people that really like music really well. And then the treble, it's good. It's not shrill and it's not harsh. Again, you can mess it up yourself. You can mess it up because they give you the ability to customize, but as is out the box, sounds really good. Using them in public is not an issue. Although they're open ear, they have what they call personalized sound zone, and that limits the sound heard by those around you. I mean, there's more science to it, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much what they do. They limit the amount of coming out to other people because of the way that they're positioned, etc. And other things, like I said, more science involved. But anything voice with these, it's top notch. So it's podcasts, television broadcasts, YouTube, phone calls.
Can you hear me? We're testing out the NWM One Headphones, speaking capabilities via Bluetooth. This is what this sounds like and what you can expect when making a phone call. Obviously, there's some compression going on through YouTube, the recording, speaking phone, all those things. But this is what you can expect from the known ones when using it on a phone call.
Anything like that, audibles or audiobooks, audiobooks. My God, like the sound, these have a real 360 sound. A lot of open ear headphones will tell you that, but these actually have that kind of 360 spatial thing because of the way this sits, and then they go into your ear. These are just good. And the Gnome ones are also capable for the 360 reality audio, which is a Sony 3D audio technology. And it's basically like it creates this sphere or 3D circle around you, and it can send sound from different directions. But that's something that you have access to with these, but you have to pay for that, like using certain apps and things like that. But these are capable of that. So if you have that app or you like that type of content, these are capable of doing that. They're multi-connect using the latest 5.3 Bluetooth that allows you to connect to multiple devices, and it also allows for Auracast Auracast, which allows you to connect these to like TV. So if your TV has that Auracast function, it can broadcast from the TV directly to these. So if you do a lot of at night watching television in house with other folks and things like that, these work. I think lastly, these bridge the gap between the average music listener and the emerging world of open ear headphones. It's funny, a large part of the population is still unfamiliar with open ear technology, and I think that innovation like this moves the needle forward when it comes to adoption of that type of tech. At the time of filming this video and releasing it, these are $299 and they come in two colors. I like the dark ones a little better. I just like the vibe of those. They sent me these out and these look really good as well. This light color is an attention grabber because they're light. People can see them and like people will run up like same reaction I had, like what the heck are those? But I like the color. I like the vibe of the dark ones a little better. They look black to me, but I think they're called dark. I think they're dark gray on the website. As of right now, these are sold at Amazon, and depending on when you're watching this, they may be sold in different places. So I'll put the link below if you're interested in learning more or purchasing them through the links provided. They are affiliate links. That does help me help the channel. But do me a favor, join the Cozy Coalition and hit that subscribe button below if you're new to the channel and you like today's content. And of course, likes go a long way in helping my channel grow as well, because that's kind of what the algorithm looks for, that and sharing and things like that. But as always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.